Before Vitor Pereira arrived at Wolverhampton Wanderers, they were staring at the very distinct possibility of relegation after only winning 2 matches of their opening 16 in the Premier League campaign. Following the Portuguese coach's inclusion, though, they've seen a massive uptick in form that has seen them reach new heights, winning 5 games on the bounce for the first time ever for the side in a Premier League campaign. And in this video, we're going to be diving into how he did it. We're going to be discussing what he's changed and how he's managed to turn this Wolverhampton Wanderers side around and, in turn, save their season. To give you a bit of context as to the massive improvement the Wolverhampton Wanderers have seen under Vitor Pereira, I've got a snapshot of before and after his arrival. So, before his arrival, the Wolves were obviously under the stewardship of Gary O'Neill. He had them for 16 games this Premier League campaign, winning 2 matches and losing 11. Now, context is important, and it must be said that Wolves had by far and away the most difficult beginning to a Premier League campaign out of all of the clubs this season. But I'm sure Wolves fans would have still expected a little bit more than what they got. They scored 23 goals and conceding a massive 40. That is an incredible amount for just 16 games and nowhere near good enough. They also conceded 16 set-piece goals in those 16 matches, averaging a set-piece goal conceded every single game. And when you're doing that, it just makes life so much more difficult. And as we know, Wolves ended up being in 19th when Gary O'Neill left the club. After Vitor Pereira came in, things looked a little bit different. In the 17 games that he had Wolves, he has seen them have 9 wins, 2 draws, and 6 losses, improving in every single statistic. He scored 24 goals and only conceding 21. And he's only conceded 3 set-piece goals in the 17 matches that he's taken charge of. The numbers speak for themselves. He has done a remarkable job. While Vitor Pereira's 3-4-3 might look quite similar to something that Gary O'Neill would have done when he previously was at Wolves, let me tell you that the 2 teams that both managers created could not be any more different. Vitor Pereira's side really bases themselves around a high dynamic, thorough work rate when it comes to both defensive work and offensive capabilities. Having a real backbone of Agbadou, Doherty and Totti really has come to a surprise of many, especially with how good Agbadou has been, a major linchpin for this Wolves back 3. And then when you look going forwards, another inclusion of Manetsi has really managed to transform themselves going forwards, giving them another added bit of aerial presence when it comes to being next to Strand Larsen, but also having that defensive awareness to drop deeper when they need to try and help with that midfield press. Andre and João Gomez really working in tandem with each other, Andre dropping deeper, João Gomez moving forwards. There's almost a real synergy within this side and an idea that's been placed in them. Something that all of the players have seriously bought into. Strand Larsen has become almost a new signing when it comes to taking the ball down, recycling possession, getting himself into the box. The way that they progress the ball forwards is something that is very, very different. Occasionally you will see Doherty split, Totti split, Agbadou move across and Andre drop deeper to allow João Gomez to go forwards. Some of these ideas are so very refreshing to see from the staleness that you started to get under Gary O'Neill. And when you look at the way that they want to work for this manager and the way that they're employing the tactics, it's pretty clear that the 2 inclusions in Agbadou and Manetsi have had a massive impact, not only going forwards, but especially defensively. Emmanuel Agbadou has been a real shining light in the centre of Wolves' back line, a real performer when it comes to being strong, defensively solid, but also aggressive enough to make sure that you keep your team on the front foot. And in comparison with one of his teammates in Santiago Bueno, I think this really gives a good highlight as to how much of an impact he's been able to make in this Vitor Pereira side. We have him with better interceptions, better tackles, more clearances per 90, 6.2 in comparison to 2.7. And when we talk about clearances, Agbadou has played 10.7 full 90s. When we think that he's got 68 clearances in total in those 10.790s, that is an incredible amount. It's actually 10 more clearances than Pau Torres, who has played 8 more 90s than him. It's actually 11 more clearances than Lisandro Martinez, who's played nearly 10 more 90s than him. This just gives an example of the impact that he has had on this Wolverhampton Wanderers side. He's got more ground duels. He wins 67.8% of those ground duels as well, which is much higher than Santiago Buena's 55%. And then when you're talking about aerial duels, I firmly believe that he's been a massive part in reducing the amount of corners and the amount of set pieces that Wolves have conceded. 1.8 aerial duels won per 90 with a 58.8% win rate. That in comparison to 1.3 and 51.5%, it's really clear to see the massive impact not only on the ground but also aerially that Emmanuel Agbadou has been able to have on this Wolverhampton Wanderers side. But as well as being a really composed, aggressive defender, he also has the ability to get his team on the front foot. Take this for example. This is a clear example of one of Wolves' situations that they had against West Ham. Notice what's going on here though. You've got Andre dropping to help with the progression and help with the build-up of play. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you've also got Agbadou on the ball. The two Wolves centre-backs are split on either side. You see Doherty up here, and just off your screen is Totti on this left-hand side. But it means that you're able to push one of your central midfielders forwards in João Gomez. You've got Manetsi, who's been able to drop into this pocket of space as well, and you've got Bellegarde making a run in beyond. Strand Larsen is out of the play currently, but he's going to get involved a little bit later. This pass from Agbadou is absolutely sensational to break the lines, and this is what Wolves have been doing so well of late, breaking those lines and making sure that you're turning the opposition around. You're turning them towards their own goal because of the good forward-thinking not only passes, but also runs from these defenders and from these attackers. It goes over towards Strand Larsen, who now has the confidence to be able to take this shot with his left foot, and as he shoots, it gets a small deflection and it gets a goal. But none of this happens without that real proactive play from Agbadou, the willingness to get his team on the front foot and be that little bit more ambitious when it comes to going forwards. Although it doesn't look on paper that Wolves are scoring more goals than when Gary O'Neill was in charge, the building blocks for Wolves going forwards definitely are there. There are different instances and different dynamics at play here within this Wolves side that I'm sure later down the line will really reap some benefits. Take João Gomez and Andre for example, both operating with each other in this 3-4-3 system, but together, they offer so much. Andre dropping deeper to be able to help facilitate with that ball progression. João Gomez given almost a free role to then go forwards and offer himself as a more attacking outlet. Totti and Doherty in this particular example helping Andre to both recycle and facilitate the ball being progressed forwards down the channels. At the same time, you've got Manetsi in a more attacking role next to Strand Larsen, giving them an extra aerial threat while also positioning himself for late runs into the box. A number of these different chances give Wolves a different avenue to go forwards, not only with their individual star quality in the likes of Matheus Cunha and João Gomez, but with Morgan Strand Larsen, you have a huge asset when it comes to bringing the ball down and bringing others into play. The wide areas being developed by Semedo and Aït-Nouri, and at the same time having those pockets of space being occupied by both João Gomez and Matheus Cunha, allowing for Manetsi to move into the box. It gives Wolves a number of different avenues to progress forwards, and that's without even talking about the progression of centre-backs becoming forward-thinking attacking players. This, I think, is a great example of all those different dynamics that I'm talking about. This isn't the game that they had against Southampton. Aaron Ramsdale is about to kick the ball long, and look what happens once he does. You've got Agbadou being really aggressive up onto the Southampton striker. He wins the ball. He's being that proactive centre-back, winning the ball back for his side. And then what have you got? You've got your two centre midfielders ready to come to the ball. They're ready to come and pick the ball up and then recycle it round. As it gets played round, you've got João Gomez with that little bit of vision, that little bit of tenacity. He's got that bit of impishness about him and he pushes it forwards for his teammates. It goes over to Manetsi, again one of the attackers and another player that Wolves have brought in to really help this team progress forwards. As it goes to Manetsi, he plays it through into Bellegarde, who manages to take a touch and find his other teammate in Strand Larsen. Notice the link play that these players have. Notice the pockets of space that they're able to then pick up. And also notice the fact that they're not willing just to rest on what they've already done. They're willing to take that space and go forwards. Strand Larsen picks up the ball and has the confidence within himself to go in, then take a shot, and he ends up scoring. But none of this happens if you don't have that proactive approach from Agbadou, if you don't have both centre midfielders ready to progress forward, and at the same time having that link play between your attackers to then progress forwards towards the Southampton goal. It's an absolutely fantastically worked goal and a true showcase and example of the way that Wolves want to go forwards under Vitor Pereira. We've mentioned one of the two real impactful players that have come into this Wolves side, but we need to mention the other one as well in Marshall Manetsi. While he might not appear like the glamorous signing that I'm sure a lot of Wolves fans would have wanted, his impact within the side is absolutely undoubted, and in the way that he's able to not only help his team defensively, but also go forwards through channel runs to try and help the likes of his wing-back to move forwards, to help his striker find different pockets of space, or whether it's to get himself into the box as well as another aerial threat. Marshall Manetsi has a massive impact on this Wolves side, and it's not only through the quality that he brings on the ball. Off of the ball, he also manages to bring so much. He averages 10.82 kilometers run in every single game. That puts him third in the league in total for distance covered. That is incredible when you think about the amount of energy that he could bring to this Wolves side, the amount of dynamism that he can bring, and it just gives this Wolves side a completely different edge, whether it's down to closing down spaces or whether it's getting himself into the box to try and score a goal. Take this for example. This is in the build-up to Marshall Manetsi's goal that he scored against Everton, and I think this is a really good summary of what Wolves do so well in such a short period of time to get themselves a goal. So, what have you got? You've got your three centre-backs. 1, 2, 3. The left-sided centre-back in Totti Gomez is going to play a ball over towards Ryan Aitnori, the left wing-back. Notice the position of Bellegarde here because he's going to be taking space really quickly later on down the line. You've also got your two midfielders in Joao Gomez and of course in Andre, and you've got Nelson Semedo ready to go and make his positioning over on that right-hand side. But just off your picture, what you've also got is Marshall Manetsi on the halfway line. I want you to keep note of where he is and just take an idea of his positioning and the way that he drifts into different pockets of space. So, as the ball goes over towards Ryan Aitnori, you've got a good driving run from Bellegarde. Aitnori plays the pass into Bellegarde to allow them to drive forwards. But again, look at the space that's been taken. Look at the athletic ability of these Wolves players. You've also got a really good run from Strand Larsen. This is going to open up space for Manetsi to then make his move. As it goes forwards, you've got Bellegarde taking that space, driving infield. Again, what you want from one of your attacking midfielders. You want them to be able to be athletic, driving into space. And then watch this movement from Strand Larsen here. Going from right to left, dragging those Everton players away, it gives the space for Manetsi to run into right here. It allows him to then take that space and go and score his goal. But we're going to get to that in a second. Once you've got Bellegarde playing that pass, it's a really well-weighted pass, and look at the space that's been opened up because of the movement of Strand Larsen. Both Branthwaite and Tarkowski have been taken away. Manetsi has then got the better of his fullback who's following him, and he's able to get onto the ball. He manages to get a good contact and then end up finishing into the bottom left-hand corner. It's a fantastic work goal, and the drive and determination from both Bellegarde and Manetsi is absolutely key. But the way that Manetsi gets himself into the box on several occasions only adds to Wolves' potency. We've talked about attackers going forwards, but what about defenders attacking? And that is something that Vitor Pereira has included within this Wolverhampton Wanderers side to help try to overload certain situations and certain areas for his Wolves side. It mainly comes through the side of Matt Doherty. He has been turned into a right-sided centre-back, and this gives Wolves a number of different avenues. But the most important one when going forwards is his ability to make really good underlapping runs away from Semedo. This drag drags players away, but also gives Manetsi the ability to then move into the box. Because if you've got Manetsi able to drift forwards, Doherty coming forwards as well, Semedo holds the width, you've still got those players being taken away by Doherty, and it then gives him a chance to get a ball into the box for Strand-Larsen, Manetsi and Cunha if he was to run in towards that back post penalty area. You've also got Aitnouri on the other side to recycle any kind of possession, and it gives Wolves just an extra avenue to go forwards. If Doherty didn't make that run completely and he stayed here, it would then have a good knock-on effect for Semedo, pushing him a little bit higher, taking that space as well, but also giving Doherty the ability to cross from deep. Remember, Doherty is an out-and-out right-back, and because he's now playing at centre-back, he's able to play a little bit more in field and create a better angle for himself to be able to start playing those crosses in. It then gives both Manetsi and Strand-Larsen different avenues and different opportunities to try and get their head on, and of course make Wolves' attacks that little bit more potent. It does work on the other side as well with Totti, but for the most part, you're going to see him driving forwards towards the byline, trying to get those crosses into the box and trying to just overload certain sides in certain situations to, again, give Wolves the best possible opportunity of scoring that goal. A good example of this is during Wolves' game against West Ham. You've got Doherty on the ball here currently, but notice how progressed he is. Notice how advanced he is in the pitch. He's almost in line with Nelson Semedo, and he's still going to be able to drive forwards. What else have you got, though? You've also got Strand-Larsen just out of picture here. He's made a run down the channel to try and give himself and his team a little bit more space. He's now going to make his way back towards the centre of the pitch. You've also got an advanced João Gomez, who is taking up a position a little bit higher. This is because Andre has dropped back just out of picture to try and recycle possession and be that metronomal pivot. You've then also got Doherty. So, as the ball gets progressed, you've got Doherty playing it through into João Gomez. Does he rest on that pass? No, he doesn't at all. He wants to take that space and he wants to drive forwards. He wants to take this space right here. Really impressive by him. But of course, he's a right back. He's used to doing this. And it helps Wolves immensely because it means that Semedo is able to keep width or drop back for a more defensive cover. It gives Wolves a little bit more potency going forwards, and it helps overload that channel because now, look at this area here. You've got a 3v3. And you've got the ability to have those 1v1 duels. So Doherty drives forwards, and notice his positioning here. Notice what he's doing as well. He's pointing. He's ready to fill that space. He's ready to go forwards. He's asking for this pass from João Gomez. João Gomez sees it, plays that pass, and it gives Doherty the ability to play a cross in. Strand-Larsen has now made a run into the box. Look at him here in acres of space because he's been able to find that pocket once he's made his drifting run in, and you've got Doherty finding him, and it just so happens that they don't manage to score, but it's a brilliantly worked goal or attempt at a goal, and it's just come from that real driving, determined nature from Doherty, taking that space and being that little bit more aggressive down the channels. Like I said, it also happens on the other side, although less frequent, but Totti still has the ability to drive forwards and take that space down that left-hand channel, and it happens here against Southampton. So the ball is going to get cleared over towards the Southampton player, but notice the positioning of Totti. He's really aggressive, he's pushed up really high, again, almost in line with Andre, again, in line with the centre midfielder, really good. Notice the positioning as well of João Gomez and Andre. Not horizontal with each other, not square on with each other. They're vertical. They're pushing high. They're giving themselves different passing lanes and different angles. You've also got Ryan Aitnouri helping out with this, but as the ball gets played in towards the Southampton player, you've got Totti being aggressive and willing to take that, winning that 1v1 duel and then driving forwards. He's got the ball currently and he's ready to go and drive and take this space down the channel. As he goes forwards, he's able to play a pass in towards the Wolves player who's positioned himself on that side. Gonzalo Guedes is then going to play the ball round again towards Totti, who is able to go forwards and take that space. And again, utilising those moments, utilising that space, being able to be really aggressive, and that's a key component to this Vitor Pereira side, being aggressive, his quality, the ability for them to go forwards, and as he goes forwards, he tries to hit the byline, he plays a good cross into the box towards this space. Again, it's all about hitting the space, making sure that you're giving your team the best possible opportunity to run onto a cross like this, and it just so happens that he does, and João Gomez probably should score from this great position, but he just doesn't manage to. But that's not to the poor play from either side. they have created fantastic opportunities, and it is a telltale sign of the way that this Wolves side wants to go forwards. Let's finally have a look at one more, and this is Doherty out on this right-hand side. Look, he's a right-sided centre-back. He's the right-sided centre-back for this side, and he's almost playing right wing at this point. You've got Joao Gomez able to provide some cover. You've got Andre next to him, and it's all about taking this space right here. As Doherty drives forwards, we see his right wing-back partner in Nelson Semedo holding that width, and it allows Doherty to then drive in field, taking this space. Look at Strand Larsen. He's aware of this moment, and he's going to drop a little bit deeper to play as almost a buffer, to play off, and it really, really works for this Wolves side. He passes it into Strand Larsen, who then gives the ball back to Doherty, who's willing to take this space over here. Again, really well done. Driving forwards, Doherty has an opportunity, and he decides to go and take a shot. But of course, in another scenario, he could play across the box. He could stop to try and play a reverse pass. It gives you so many different options, and the overload of continuously taking that space by pushing your centre-back on is really, really important, and it makes Wolves that little bit more dangerous. There are two words that I would really associate with this Wolves side. The first one would be aggression, and the second one would be balance. We've spoken about the aggression point of this Wolves side, but the balance is so integral and so key and so very apparent in this Vitor Pereira side. You've got the idea of having 3 defenders going forwards and 3 attackers, facilitated by 2 wing-backs who are able to go forwards and defend really, really well, really aggressively. And then when you look at the centre of the park, between the 2 real pivot players, you've got Andre, who's willing to drop back, facilitate possession a little bit more, and then progress the lines. And you've also got Joao Gomez, who's able to go and take a more advanced attacking position because he's willing to do that more attacking work rate to give his teammate the ability to drop back, still make tackles. Both of them are really tenacious in the tackle, but still giving them that balance within the side. Aït-Nouri still able to find those different pockets of space to give himself the best possibility of really providing that quality for this side. Semedo holding width out wide, allowing for Doherty to make those infield runs. You've got Manetsi, who with his energy, his boundless energy, able to drop back, but also find himself in the box more often than not. This gives Strand Larsen a little bit less real problems when it comes to really being depended on. It gives him a little bit more breathing room rather than him being the sole player in the box, and it also gives Matheus Cunha, or whoever plays in this particular attacking midfield position, the ability to drop a little bit deeper and help to bring the play all together with his physical capabilities, but obviously his quality on the ball. This Wolves side is balanced from back to front. They are an absolutely fantastic outfit, and a lot of it is down to the way that Vitor Pereira has come in and set a new amount of standards within this side and a real balance within this squad. But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What did you make of Wolves before Vitor Pereira came in, and what do you make of them now? I think they are a whole lot better. But of course, let me know what you think. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.